For more on this, I spoke with Peter Pham, an expert on African affairs at the Atlantic Council here in Washington, and I asked him what it would take to stabilize the situation there.
I think the international community has to realize that there are no quick fixes to the situation. There was a peace accord, and the Seleka rebels, who are now in control of the country, felt that the government was not moving quickly or sincerely enough to implement it, so they moved themselves very quickly and overthrew the government. But the president who was overthrown, Francois Bozize, himself overthrew a legitimate government in 2003 and then staged two so-called elections in which he won not particularly credible majorities. And so one has to question his legitimacy. And so this is the type of thing where one can go back and back, but the fact is what the country really needs is a program that really addresses the core issues of political inclusion, legitimacy of the regime, and an equal share in it's one of the poorest places in the world, but it has a wealth of diamonds, timber, and cotton that's not shared particularly equitably, as is political power not shared. And so until that holistic, integrated solution is adopted, unfortunately, I think this cycle of violence will continue.
But where does that come from? Does it come from within that country? Is there some sort of group or people who can handle that, or is it going to take someone from the outside to come in and bring it to stability?
I think it's going to take two things. It's going to take engagement on the international community's part, but it's also going to take a will within the Central African Republic. This is a country which, since its independence, has gone from largely military rule to bizarre dictators. We had one president proclaim himself an emperor and then was overthrown. The president who was just overthrown, Bozize, at one point in the last few years was so eccentric, he was appointing as Central African Republic's ambassadors people who weren't even African and had very little or no connection to the country. At one point, there was even a former New York fashion executive who was appointed a presidential advisor and ambassador at large for the country. And so this type of bizarre behavior does not lend itself to stability. And unfortunately, in this part of the world, it's very easy for instability in one country to spill over and become a problem for its neighbors.
What happens to Bozize now?
Well, I think what should happen is he finds a country willing to take him in. He's currently in the Cameroon, but they've indicated that that's a temporary measure. They want someone else to take him. But whoever takes him also has to make sure that he's not using sanctuary as a place to plot a comeback to launch a further cycle of violence in that country. The country doesn't need more violence. What it needs is stability and a credible, internationally supervised plan to restore constitutional rule and to give people a voice in the destiny of their country.